Hello, everybody. We're going to be going over some of the new features. Then I'm going to be going over and reviewing a AI SaaS funnel based off of some of the questions, that the people have been asking about in the Discord chat, which has been good. And then, of course, there's always a Q&A session at the end of these meetings. So if you have any questions throughout anything that I'm talking about, please feel free to add it in the meeting chat, and then we'll get to it at the end of the call. As more people start joining in here, I'll get started by sharing my screen and going over a couple housekeeping items. Just a reminder, we always have our public roadmap and changelog. If you go to roadmap.stammer.ai, we have our public changelog, and this is what we're going to be reviewing today, which is all the updates about the platform. You can also go to the boards tab, which shows you all of the items that you guys can submit and vote on, which are features that we are working on towards adding, and then how those features are being implemented. And this is all a part of our build in public and all the communication that we've had with the agencies that we've been working with for a while. So thanks for everyone for submitting your feedback to this thus far. Right. So we did a couple updates last week, 1.6 being the main update. A lot of different small things, a lot of bug fixes and things, but the big announcement is we got version 1 of voice added. This is super exciting because a lot of people have been asking about this, and this is just the beginning for voice. So I really want to preface that. We wanted to make sure that we continue to build, and like I just mentioned with our public roadmap, we always tend to build things in this kind of stepping stone way, which allows us to validate these new features and test them and make sure everything's working before we increase the complexity. So the first version of voice is now live for everybody and their clients. And the cool part about this is it's completely free for everyone across the board for right now. And this is because we're using what's called the web API, which actually uses the browser itself to translate and speak back the voice. So this is both voice in and voice out. So if you go to any of your AI agents inside your dashboard, go into the advanced settings, at the very bottom, there's going to be a new toggle that says enable audio features, beta free version. So this will enable both the ability to do input and output inside the embeddable chat widget or chatbot that you can put basically anywhere that you can add HTML code. And so what that looks like is there will now be a little speaker icon in the header of the chatbot, and that will signify if the response will be spoken back to you or not. And so if we leave it on like that, it will speak back the response. And then at the bottom, it will now have a little microphone icon. And so when you click the microphone icon, if you've not ever clicked it before, there will be a little pop-up and it'll ask you to get the permissions to be able to use the microphone. And once the person clicks allow, then it will basically take in anything that you say. And then it writes that exact words right in the chat, and then you can send it. So I'll type some. How much does the starter plan cost?
The starter plan costs $49 per month.
Now, I know this is the classic robot voice, but this is why this is version 1, and this is also why it's free. We will be working and improving this feature so that way you can connect your OpenAI API key, which will leverage their Whisper technology, which has the higher quality voices. And then we'll also build another integration for 11 Labs, which is one of my favorites, which will allow you to create a custom voice inside 11 Labs and then be able to have and use that voice within these AI agents. Now, both of those scenarios using the OpenAI and or 11 Labs, those will be costs that will have that are associated with that from those two platforms. So just keep that in mind. Now, that being said, once we introduce these more advanced options, we will be able to also introduce the ability for you to then resell this as an added feature to your clients included inside the SaaS configurator. So that's why we're starting with this free and nice and simple version to be able to test and make sure the functionality and everything works well. And then we'll continue to improve and release the next version, which will have full rebilling functionality and all that stuff that you would expect from something like sending messages. Lauren says, very cool addition. Something we have been wanting to work more with is audio and voice input. Yeah, a lot of people have asked for it, so we're excited to get this first version out, and excited to see where people take it. Any other questions or comments on the voice stuff?
I have two things.
Yeah.
One, I noticed when I turn off the option for voice in the background, the little speaker still remains just with an X next to it. Is that little icon going to go away if you do intentionally turn off in the setup for the agent? If you turn the voice off, is that going to disappear so people don't think that they should be able to turn it on?
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll make that an update. Yep.
And also, one other question. I haven't tried it yet, but this is the advanced tech thinking that I have. How does it deal with F-bombs?
Do we find out? It might. Oh, it definitely won't speak it. It will not speak it back, actually.
Yeah.
So, and then I mean that's just basically because in the base system prompt you can say don't make sure you don't have any profanity. Stay on topic. Yeah.
Because that'd be the first thing I'd use. If I was doing it, I'd be like, oh, let's just light this thing up. Let's see it go. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, and that's I think going to be a byproduct conversation of AI voice outside of this. That's just going to be something in general that I think is brought up quite often. So yeah, that'll be an evolving conversation over the next months and years, I'm sure.
With my 6th grade male brain, that's exactly where it went first.
So there's one small thing is Firefox doesn't allow this web API. So that's one drawback to this. Every other browser, Chrome and Safari works just fine. So that's voice. We'll be like I said, we'll be adding the additional functionality to the other two options in the next coming weeks.
One quick other thing that I thought of and I can't remember whose platform it was, but they had like a word that you could use as the enter key. So that way, then if someone truly was, sight challenged or didn't want to use anything on the device itself, they could say, some enter now or some phrase that would make it so it truly was just back and forth conversational. Just an idea.
That's a good idea. Yeah, we'll definitely take that into account.
Also, I've seen it works great. By the way, fantastic this for accessibility. But I've been trying it on an iPhone with Safari, and I'm having some issues getting it to pick up the voice. So I don't know if that's a similar issue that you're having with Firefox.
Is it when you're which microphone icon are you clicking when you're doing the voice?
The one in the bot.
The one actually in the bot. Okay.
Yeah, and then it's deferring to the keyboard mic.
All right.
Seems to override it, but it won't speak back because you've used the keyboard rather than the interface.
Got it. Okay. Well, how would you like to have that work? Because when we were like working this out, I kind of by default just clicked the microphone icon on the phone keyboard itself. Do you think that's?
I think that's good enough. It's the speak back we've got to be able to get that to work if we use that.
Oh, I see. My mistake. Okay. Okay. Let me make a note of that. Yeah, we'll look into that as well. Next up, we got the AI agency internal support bot here. This is going to be how you add the bot to your sub account clients. So last couple weeks ago, we added an update where now we have an internal support bot inside the dashboard specifically just for agencies. And this is one of those things that is only shown to just the agency level. Now, what you can do is build your own version of this, and you can use our documentation as a base or, for a lot of the how-to, and a lot of that can be found in your white label documentation. Once you have a bot created, there's now a new option here in the bottom left-hand or right-hand corner that says internal AI support bot. When you click this and enable it, this will now enable it so that way your sub accounts on your white label version of the platform will be able to now interact with that specific bot. So you can see how on the agency level, this one's called Stammer Support, and this one's called Stammer AI Docs for SR Bot. So if I go here, you can see there's not any bot, but if I refresh, now there's a bot, Docs for SR Bot. And if I go into any of my sub accounts, that's also what I would see as well. And I just haven't customized this any further, but you can customize this exactly how you would customize any other bot and embed it on any other website, just like normal. So the advantage of this is it helps reduce support tickets. When we enabled this ourselves, we saw a drop of about 58% reduction in support tickets, which is incredible. That being said, there is a link in the chat chat to submit a support ticket if you have an issue. So please feel free to submit a support ticket if you have an issue, or join our Discord. Either of those are great options to get support. So now this is available to anybody on the white label plans, agency and full SaaS mode. Some other honorable mentions and things that we've been working on: the conversational and scheduling improvements. We added a test item in there, which is basically a button that allows you to get the functionality to make sure that to get the function to get availability. That is there now. This will allow you to make sure that the connection is established correctly, to make sure that any issues are solved before you start working with this. Lastly, we actually did get GPT Mini out. It's now the cheapest and most cost-effective model. It's 0.002 cents per message for those that are not using their own API key on the full SaaS mode plan. My recommendation is it's better than 3.5, but not better than 4.0. So for anybody that's using leads and scheduling, definitely use 4.0 still, or 4 Turbo. But if you're trying to do more quote unquote simple use cases, 4.0 Mini is a great and very cost affordable option. Cool. Like I said before, I'm gonna go over some other information here real quick but if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll get to it, or just say I have a question, and then I'll know to call on you. So a lot of the questions that we get in our Discord, I'm now starting to make videos on. And so the way that I try to explain the ideas and concepts that I've learned over the past 12 years of running a website development agency and now building this software is how to create and run a funnel. And a lot of times it can be extremely complicated, but because we are all using the same piece of software, Stammer, I was able to basically templatize a funnel that many people can use. And this is one that I'm using actively today to drive new leads into new customers. And you guys can basically replicate this exact funnel, and it's very simple. There's a lot of paths that you could take this, but this is the core fundamental pieces of it. We have website visitors, we have people that are starting a free trial, and we have people that are paying us, essentially. These are very simple 3 buckets. And these questions start to become, how do we get more people to become website visitors? How do we get more people to become free trials? How do we get more people to become paid subscribers and stay paid subscribers? And that's where the rest of this mind map kind of gets flushed out here. I'm going to explain this kind of quickly, but this mind map and a full video tutorial of this that's in depth, like 15-20 minutes long, will be available on my YouTube channel for free for everyone to watch and go more in depth on. So the free value opt-in is one of the best ways, because the best ways to drive more traffic, because we're not actually trying to sell anybody on anything yet. We're just trying to showcase that we can give them free value. And this is one of the things that these guys popularized incredibly well with their books and their videos and their courses and all their stuff. And for whatever you want to say about Gary Vee, the way that he basically describes this as jab, 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 we want to continuously provide free value and then ask someone for a sale or a purchase. That concept can be applied in a lot of different ways, but the whole goal of this is what can we offer someone for free that they'd be willing to give you their email for? Once you have their email address, you can start to do warm outreach to them because they've opted in for something. So that way they're somewhat familiar from you. And ideally you can get them on some sort of sales meeting. And the reason why a sales meeting is important for this specific funnel is you can showcase the aha moment. And you can do this with the free trial as well, but it's more powerful when you're on a sales meeting. And I know people like Tim, you've done this with I'm sure many clients now, where you get people on the call and you have a customized AI agent, and you can have the client ask the AI agent live a question about their business, and then the AI agent responds exactly how you would want it to respond. And then they're like, oh my gosh. And they have this eureka moment where they see the value that it could provide their business. And that's the perfect moment to be like, hey, maybe you should become a paid subscriber. Would you like to purchase? Would you like to buy? And that's why this setting the funnel up in this way is extremely powerful. You can have a fully automated self-serve funnel, and that's what we always want to try to get towards. But there's always going to be a percentage of this overall traffic that will just want to learn more before they take any action. And so it's kind of important, or not crucial, but it's really valuable to set yourself up in this way, because this is a proven way to succeed and build your subscriber list. Now, once people become a free trial, and this is one of the benefits of the recent updates that we did within the SaaS configurator, is you can now set your own free trial settings. So you can set how many days or how much credit people want to be able to go through before cuts them off and says, hey, you now need to become a paid subscriber. And this is where we can start to re-engage them with more information, more free value. We want to continuously try to have a conversation with this potential client. So that way we get them back into this cycle of seeing the value for their business, and then they're more willing to become a paid subscriber. So free trial settings in that matches kind of to what you can do from free trial started to free trial expired here. And then these are just examples of what possible subscription plans could be. Selling one agent for $100 a month, a couple agents for a couple $100 a month, etc., whatever it may be. Once you start building your email list, and this is why a lot of people start saying like, oh, building your list. Once you start building your list, you can start working people up this value ladder. And this is kind of so this is one of the things that I've been doing for the last few years to help make sure that I, can always have some source of income, is because I'm creating content. People will opt in for whatever it may be. And this concept of a value ladder can be applicable to pretty much anybody, agency, business-wise. Creating free value opt-ins, guides, databases, resources, top tool lists, templates. Many of you have probably opted in for a lot of these things yourself. I know I have. I've opted for hundreds of these things, like, oh, download this Notion guide to, whatever. Some of those guys are me selling, offering those things. And a lot of the ways that I've done that is through this platform called Gumroad. And if you're brand new to all this stuff, Gumroad is a great solution because it's completely free to use, and they allow you to create this type of funnel where you can offer stuff for free. And then they also have the ability to allow you to collect donations, which is kind of wild. So it's like I've made some money from just donations, which is crazy. People donating money for free stuff. But you can get a ton of people to give you their email address, give you their information. And now that kind of sets you up to start moving them up this value ladder as you start to give them more information and your conversation with them increases. And that whole kind of concept of, you wouldn't ask someone to come home with you on the first date per se. You would want to take them out on a date first. And that's kind of the idea here. We want to work them up towards becoming eventually a subscriber that can make you monthly recurring revenue. I'm sure along the way, there's a lot of different ways. You can build paid communities or a free community, which again is another way to drive traffic to your offer. These are all things that you can use to make more money. Lauren says, where can this diagram be found? This will be a free mind map that is on my YouTube. There will be a link. There's a link in the chat just above. It's the most recent video that I just posted. It's in that description. Alrighty. Well, I think, I just rambled for 30 minutes essentially. Anybody have any questions? Yes. Tim says, I have a question about adding a countdown in the client dashboard about free trial. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. So we could add something in there that will say, or that basically just matches our free trial countdown. We could add
it would be useful because we can, at a glance, the client is seeing, they're getting pressure, creating tension in the usage. Should hopefully tip them into a subscription. I have a question on that. So what happens at the end of that subscription period or the free period? So if we set it for say 14 days on a free trial, what happens at the end of that 14 days? Does they still have access into the dashboard, but does everything now no longer work?
Correct. So what we could also do is, working off the back of that idea where there's a customizable countdown bar that is attributed to the amount of days that you set. We could also have a customized expired pop-up or tab. I'm trying to think of more ways that you can continuously have people push back, outside of re-engagement, but within the actual platform.
And is there a way to push that notice period into the Stripe payment as well? So if we set 14 days on a paid subscription, like a period of time, and then they're going to start into the subscription. At the moment, they just have to enter their details in Stripe, and this doesn't tell them what that trial period is. Is there a way to push that trial period into the Stripe window?
It has to be stacked. It's not concurrent. And so the way that you would do that is you could set free trial settings, which would allow them to give you the email and name for a certain amount of days. And then, like, independent of this time frame, inside each subscription plan in the trial and credits tab, you could set a trial period. And this will be on top of that 14 days. So like if they are 12 days left, for example, and then they were to sign up and get their subscription, and you set the subscription to be 3 days, it would take their information and then they would get charged in 3 days.
Right.
Is that what you were expecting, or is that different? Or
yeah, it's more when if we take someone to our Stripe landing page, on there it says this is the value of your subscription, so they could enter a coupon code at that point and see the full amount, but it doesn't say that this is your subscription. That subscription will start in 14 days time.
got it.
On that actual payment page. So it implies that the payment's going to be taken straight away.
Even if you have it set as 14 days in the trial and credits section?
That's why I need to go back and test.
Okay. Yeah. Just make sure you have it set there
as well.
Yep, correct. All righty. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll talk to you guys next week.